Whew, and we are live for our webcam conference. Yeah.
Yeah. Woo. We're ready. We're stoked.
We are in it to win it.
All right. What are the numbers today? How are we producing?
Counts a little low. I mean, what?
Are we the bomb? Oh, too soon. Too soon.
Oh, shit. Stupid thing.
Oh, whoa. All right.
There we
Technical
go.
difficulties. There's an echo.
There's-
Echo.
I was trying to close out my phone from making noise and accidentally clicked on something. There we go.
What's up? Got a lot of what's up, Mark? What's up, dudes?
We lost 3 people like right away. That's fucking quick. It was at 24, then it goes down to 21.
I'm not surprised. I'm barely here.
Because people don't like our webcam conferences.
Yeah, I guess so. Was it my bomb joke?
Yeah, probably. Your ABCDEFG joke killed though. Good job.
Right.
That lame ass. Anyway,
shoot. Sometimes the dad jokes get over, so do what you can.
Oh man! All right, guys. So we're here. We have the Vanity Fair article pulled up.
Yes, not Variety, but Vanity Fair.
Yeah, someone couldn't find it because they were typing in Variety.
Oh man!
Justice League: The shocking, exhilarating, heartbreaking true story of the hashtag Snyder Cut. Now, this, before we even start, I would have to say this is possibly going to be the closest thing we get to the truth on how a lot of this stuff went down. I mean, eventually, maybe someday, somebody will be able to do kind of a John Schnepp thing and be able to interview more people that are more freely able to talk. Maybe that will happen. But it would... Okay, sorry guys. I just want to make sure I didn't check my microphone settings, so I just want to make sure it was on my Yeti. I'm not on the stupid shitty webcam mic.
You sound good. Do I sound good? I wasn't even sure. I was like kind of messing with this. You always sound good.
Aw, thanks. There we go.
That's so nice. Ah, thank you, kind sir.
Oh shit! Hardboil is.
Oh wait, and howdy,
gents.
Appreciate
Don't
it.
worry, that you're just behind. It was my phone playing our damn thing and shit. Don't worry, it'll calm down here in a moment.
Hopefully that's what
it is. Hopefully
it's not a giant cluster, man. So apparently we should be late more often because the viewers are just like crawling in. I get it. People probably have already broken down this article. It's probably going to be a shit show as it usually is, but damn, like, come on. Help us out here. Our regularly scheduled programs by now. Now we got to switch it up. We just have to go back to spontaneity.
Yeah, just off the cuff again.
If I can even say spontaneity. There we go.
So a demoralizing battle with Warner Brothers and a devastating personal tragedy, a fan base he couldn't control. Zack Snyder tells Vanity Fair why he quit Justice League and why he's returned to complete a cut that's reached near mythical status. Now, this article is pretty solid. Apparently this person, Anthony, where is his name?
Bresnikan?
Oh, there it is.
Bresnikan? I don't know why I said it all weird, but yes, Mr. Anthony.
Yeah, so Anthony, he must have had a bad case of saying something stupid, and some Snyder Cut people must have attacked him because holy shit, this reads like a victim on some of this stuff. When it comes to the community and the fandom,
I wish he would have. Aside from that, it's a fantastic, well-written article. I even like the little stuff like putting the Z there. I thought it was really well done, but you almost kind of detract from everything that you're building. It was almost as if like he couldn't kiss Snyder's ass too much, and so he's like, oh, hold on, bring back to reality check here for a second, and. I wish he wouldn't have included that all that stuff about toxic fandom and nonsense.
Some of it, but some of it. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about it more. Yeah. But some of it is just so like it's amazing how much information he got, but then also just being clueless of how some of that stuff became, how it perspired from the start, and that's the frustrating part because especially right now when we're working on part 3, that's a huge deal of it. That's the huge part of it right there. So one of the interesting parts here, Deborah Snyder sat in a screening room on the studio lot alongside Christopher Nolan, one of the movie's executive producers, as well as the director of the Dark Knight trilogy. She braced herself as the lights went down. It's a weird experience, she says. I don't know how many people have that experience. You've worked on something for so long, and then you leave, and then you see what happened to it. So, yeah, I mean, this, I can't imagine how the people that worked on the original Snyder version watched this and just, I mean, like Jay Oliva, he's talked about it a little bit. Obviously, Fabian Wagner has talked about it. But being that close to it, we've never quite got Chris Terrio's thoughts. So that would be, hopefully that little snippet of news comes down one of these days.
I'm kind of surprised. I know that, it says that it was in 2017. So maybe it was just out of sheer curiosity. But I'm very surprised that Deborah Snyder decided to even put herself through that. I was kind of shocked. I can understand Christopher Nolan. Maybe he's a little bit more removed from the project, because he didn't really work on it. But it's just very, very odd. And I kind of felt for her. There was a lot of times in this article, the quotes you really can relate and understand. And I sent this article to a number of different friends and people, and that fully didn't understand the whole scope of what happened with Justice League. And then also they don't fully understand, I guess, my obsession, if you will, with Zack Snyder. And you get some of that. This really brings it down, and you can connect and relate to Deborah and Zack and, some of their battle. But yeah, I was very surprised that she even decided to watch it at all.
Well, do remember by late 2017, professional.
Bless you, my child. Yeah. And there goes our viewers even more.
She was doing some of the press. She did go on stage.
I do remember that, but
she piped out some of the rhetoric and stuff like that. What happened to Justice League was a crisis on infinite doubt, a team of executives who lost faith in the architect, which is that not just the story? Joss Whedon comes in, and then his bullshit here. November 17, 2017, team up between Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Aquaman, The Flash didn't so much debut in theaters, but crash into them, which I think is a very, very good way to describe it.
Yep.
And some of these pictures here some of these you've never seen before. Gal Gadot, I'm not sure. Zack Snyder says Gal, and I don't know if it's Gal Gadot.
Yeah, I've always thought it was Gal. And then there's a point where she's like even talking about how to pronounce her last name as Gadot, something like that, like with her accent. So I've always I've stopped pronouncing it with the T. And just went with Gadot, and then there's a point I'm not sure. So
so Wonder Woman.
Our dumbass is even pronouncing that right. Who knows?
A Wonder Woman. Anyway, she even put out a tweet and a Instagram post talking about this particular picture and how it went down, and we'll get to it here at the bottom. Well, yeah. I mean, the bullshit that went on, how much money it lost. All the crap, and obviously
dwarfed by Marvel. Yada.
Good old comparisons there. After the private screening of the Whedon cut, Nolan and Deborah Snyder emerged into the light with a shared mission. I just like this. I can just picture them like
just cleanse ourselves of that. That's what we've been trying to do for 3.5 years now or so, and counting.
And they came and just said, "You can never see that movie," Zack Snyder says. He's always talked about, like, friends have said that don't ever watch the theatrical cut. And, I always figured Deborah was part of that. But apparently Christopher Nolan was also another advocate as well.
Makes sense. GOAT. Is the GOAT, indeed.
Man.
So this is the next part of this article. God bless you.
There we go.
Oh man, but he gets into this part where he's talking about kind of where Snyder's at in his current life. He talks about he's worshipped due to his high octane brawn fest like Dawn of the Dead, his ancient Greek battle saga 300, his Twisted Watchmen adaptation, and all this stuff. And then this is where he kind of starts to, I don't want to say detract, but just really, I don't know, pull away from this article a little bit. He says the fans, dubbed it the Snyder Cut. They beat their drum on social media, demanding that Warner Brothers return Justice League to its original filmmaker. That's fair. I was demanding. I was like, no, you MFers better pony up. But anyway, so and then he says the fans could be clever, but they were also horrifically toxic. Some could have potentially be horrifically toxic. That's the thing, is like he like a lot of bloggers do and writers, is they group everyone together that's been a part of this movement, and that's been part of the
he says
frustrating
many
part.
But he says many, but many.
Oh, okay, we're horrifically toxic.
So yeah, it's not everyone, it's
Fair
just
enough.
many.
Yeah.
It's just many. And that's just the thing.
All of them were relentless.
And grew more numerous over time.
Yeah.
And okay, so all right, fine. That's one dig. But okay, so we move.
It gets
forward.
worse, but
yeah,
keep moving forward. I thought this was really cool how he threw in the different different movies like 300 and Watchmen. We got some cool pictures from that. I thought that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yep. It's not uncommon for directors to lose creative control in a big budget studio spectacles, or for the filmmakers to step, or for other filmmakers to step in. Yeah, Ron Howard. Yeah, that's one right there. You got the infamous. Well, I think two Star Wars movies have that, Solo and Rogue One. So, but it's unheard. It's unheard of for the studio to return an exiled filmmaker and offer back the power and creative freedom it has yanked away, especially when some of the most beloved and lucrative characters in pop culture history are involved. The hashtag Snyder Cut is coming in March 18th.
I absolutely agree, Brian. This is exactly what I was talking about. It's you talk too much of the negative, and I get it. Maybe that's part of the clicks. People were curious on it, but yeah, absolutely not talking about really what the fan base was doing in addition to trying to bring the movie out and trying to get it. It's just about toxic.
It's briefly mentioned at the bottom of the article,
right?
But it's just, my big problem is that he acts like fans were just doing that for no reason. And then we'll get to it. Like, there's this whole psychological breakdown.
Yeah. We keep jumping ahead to that part.
Anyway, the story took and it goes through the whole Autumn thing. I'm not sure how many people want to hear all that, but obviously it's a tragic story of what happened to her.
The one part that I do want to mention with Autumn is there were certain things that I didn't know. I knew that he had adopted her. I didn't know at what age. Apparently, she was incredibly young when he first adopted her. And then his connection with Autumn, you can tell was deep. Like he could relate to her. They both, talked about, or he was talking about how they connected on sci-fi movies, and she had this great imagination. And I'm sure he loves all of his kids, obviously, but he, in terms of what he's interested in, he could relate to her on that type of level, and just some of the battles and stuff that she dealt with. That was, that was kind of tough to read through, and you feel for him. Again, it's, really, this article did a good job at helping you relate to Zack and his, and his situation, and Deborah and their kids and everything. Like I enjoyed that part of it. And that's why I was sending it around to other people to show, like, look what this man has been through. And so many people criticize him.
This may sound weird, but it definitely humanized him a little bit more.
Yeah,
and showed,
I will agree.
And you could see, and there's some tweets that will show at the end of this thing that kind of shows some of the not necessarily buyback from some people, but like, oh, okay, I think I understand this a little bit better now.
No, that's a great way to put it. I think humanizing him to a very solid degree. So,
their daughter's death was the reason the Snyders walked away from Justice League, realizing their fight in spirit was needed at home with their other children and with each other, rather than a losing battle with the powerful studio. Now she now she is the main reason he's decided to come back. At the end of the movie, it says, "For Autumn," Snyder says, sitting in the shadows of a darkened editing suite, frames from the movie frozen on the screens around him. When he talks about his daughter and otherwise scrappy, ebullient. Yeah, see, this isn't trailer trash friendly. Ebullient 54-year-old filmmaker always looks away. Without her, this absolutely would not have happened. So I'm curious because they obviously have done some kind of like Zoom call or something with him or something like that. I wonder if there's ever going to be video of this. I'm curious because there's a lot of visual descriptions in this.
Yeah.
And I've always been curious. Like, I was just curious. Whoa.
Thank you, Pete. Man, that is awesome. EFAP YouTube channel review of Man of Steel. No. Dude, that is awesome. That is
I don't
awesome.
even know who
really
EFAP is. To be honest.
Me neither. But we'd be happy to crap all over it.
Yeah, we're always down for that. Oh, don't worry. Part 3 is going to have some shit bombs on it. And obviously these cool Joker picks, one we've seen, one we haven't seen before.
Oh man, as if Zack wasn't controversial enough.
I know. I did think that. I was like, okay, now you're just fucking egging people on.
Right.
You're just fucking...
So I'm like, okay, all right.
I did see someone pull up a comic strip though that looks fairly similar to this.
Okay.
So it could be very comic-ish accurate. I don't know. I'm not sure.
This made me wonder if that's what Grace Randolph was talking about, if that was the picture when she said, "Oh, you've never seen anything like this before." Because when not to say it was a letdown, obviously the pictures that we saw before were awesome, but to say that it's never like anything you've ever seen before, I was kind of like, meh. I mean, you know, he reminds me a little bit of Heath Ledger, you know, mixed with Joaquin Phoenix, sort of. You know, he's got the lips, especially the picture on the left there. And so I didn't get that feeling at all. I felt like that was, you know, she was hyping it up. But if this is the picture he showed her, yeah, sure. Okay. Never seen that before. Or even the comic that you're referencing.
Trying to read some of the comments here. Do we still care about Deuce trashing Zack? I mean, there's a 50-50 mix because like our last video, that was a debate because like how much do you keep fighting with people and how much do you just let the people just fly into the wind? Like, I don't know. It's a huge debate for us because it's like at the same time you're like, okay, these people are just nothing's going to change their mind. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but did these kind of just letting these narratives run away with things, did that kind of cause what happened in 2016 as well? I don't know. It's quite a battle. It's a hard thing to figure out, like the balance anyway, you know, of how to approach these type of narratives. Then a little bit of backstory on Zack Snyder here. Stuff I didn't quite know about. I didn't know Zack was such a player. No, just kidding.
The only reason why I knew that some of this stuff is because somewhat recently, probably within the last year, my wife and I were kind of going over and I was talking about how many children he had and, you know, just kind of the person that he is, how many he adopted. And I thought they were all adopted by him and Deborah. And so we had kind of looked it up. And, you know, and did a little bit of research and found out, he was married, you know, a couple of times before. But still, dude's a saint. I have 4 kids and I'm like, this zombie's not in reference to Army of the Dead, by the way.
Zombie Shane. Just for everybody to be able to read that.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he's talking about. Zombie Shane.
I'm just beat down.
Of course, going back into, you know, talking about Autumn being her super creative, she's a writer. And
she's the only dork. I love that. I love that quote. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. She's the only dork. and that's just you could tell like he had a great relationship with her, and it's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. It is sad. And again, this is what we're talking about. Somebody posted, I think, that it makes him look like a likable guy, and like we said, it humanizes him. And this shows, this is a lot of people, like when he said recently that he left because of this, plus what the studio was doing, and that Frosty Weintraub guy was like, oh, laughing because he still believes Snyder got fired, and well, the studio didn't make it easy for him, but this, when you hear these words, this makes a lot of sense why someone would be like, I'm out of here. Get the,
exactly.
This was a huge part of him. She was part of him, and when that piece leaves you, I mean, how much do you really have left to fight a studio about a movie and your vision? And we'll get into more detail here later about what things they were pushing onto him and stuff like that, and obviously, talking about, certain things like what her worth was and stuff like that. Again, very sad. Yeah. Very sad that someone even has to question some of that stuff sometimes, that's a terrible, terrible moment. So the fact that the studio had lost faith in Snyder's ability to make Justice League seemed mundane and pointless after Autumn's death, which is what I was just saying. I don't know why I just didn't wait till that point.
We don't know what we're doing.
It's such a lightning strike in the center of the whole saga, says Snyder, and in a lot of ways, it has informed everything we have done since.
Yeah, and then this part right here where, they talk about they try to keep going, trying to find solace in finishing Justice League. Then the situation with Warner Brothers had imploded, and the official story was the Snyders were voluntarily leaving the movie due to their family tragedy, and Zack had handpicked Whedon to complete the movie he had planned. Only half of that was true. And that's another, to me, relatable part, when you just try to continue, you have a death, obviously a very impactful one, and you try to just continue on with your life and hope that, okay, maybe this will distract me. And at some point you're trying to continue on with your work, but you're being beaten down by a studio, and all these things are kind of coming in. And yeah, I would have made the same decision.
Talking about breaking down some of the history here, some of his previous movies, obviously 300, Dawn of the Dead, Watchmen, other things like that. Of course, kind of throw that in about Sucker Punch. That's always some would say.
So actually, what was funny, I don't even know if I want to bring this back up again, but reading that line and then seeing still the people that are leaning into this narrative so hard is what Matt and I have decided we put our Snyder Myths series on hold almost indefinitely, and but seeing this shit is exactly where I was like, man, do we just start working on that again?
I don't know. I have a feeling it's just going to come into play
eventually here. But son of a it's this crap. The narrative is still out there, and I can't believe it. You have Wonder Woman, not to derail this too far, but you have Wonder Woman in BVS that's leading the way, and the Trinity, not Batman, not Superman, it's fucking Wonder Woman. And then even in Justice League, she's standing in front of Aquaman, and then who was the other one? Flash, and she's leading the charge then. So it's like, okay, yeah, sure. Anyways,
talks about Man of Steel taking a different look on the Superman mythos, not doing the Christopher Reeves. And I do like this, the willing to kill for what he thought was right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, totally misunderstood, but
yeah. Anyway, the studio I had hoped for more than $668 million it made in the box office, which I'm curious if that's this person's opinion or he got that from somebody and he's just stating that like that. Because to me, at that time in 2013, yes, the Iron Man 3, Avengers, and Dark Knight Rises made $1 billion. I understand that. But when you look at starting the universe, starting over again, with a Superman movie, and even the first Iron Man only made a little over 400 million. I think all those first Marvel movies only made like between 400 and 300 million dollars. Like they didn't make that much in their opening box office, and this thing almost made 700 million dollars and its box office, and it's a revamp of the origin of Superman. So it kind of seems like, I don't know, that seems pretty good to me when you're looking at an origin film. It's not a built up team adventure like the Avengers, and it's not a end of a trilogy like the Dark Knight Rises. It's the first movie. It's the first movie in the whole thing. So I don't know. I'm curious on that one, but we'll see.
I really feel like the studio assumed because it was Superman, and then therefore afterwards, because you had a movie with Batman and Superman in it, that it was dead. It did nothing else mattered. It could have been done in Batman and Robin style, and campy as hell. And it should have done $1 billion, and that's not necessarily the case. Like he was building something, and he was also taking a lot of risks and doing something that he wanted to see that a whole lot of people weren't familiar with. So that plays into it as well.
But Man of Steel fared well enough for Snyder to get another shot, even though he was already working on this stuff before Man of Steel even came out. Anyway, the time bringing in Ben Affleck into the universe as Bruce Wayne, as Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, the subtle. The subtle was a giveaway. This was probably prologue Justice League and the superhero crossover event, and some moviegoers had been pining forever. And then basically this is the Gal Gadot thing, or Gal Gadot, the goat. Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman says, "I remember."
Might as well.
Snyder says, "I remember Gal saying to me, Zack, I was going to quit the business. I was getting ready to just move back to that place right there,
Tel Aviv.
Okay, and just have a life there. I was done with Hollywood. I was going to do this one more audition. Then she came in, and I was like, that's my Wonder Woman. Now she's the world. Now she's the whole world's."
If you go back up to the picture earlier of her, which I'm pretty sure was keep going, right there on the right hand side. Yeah, if that was her first screen test. Yep, that's my Wonder Woman too.
I think it was I think he said it was like a second picture he had.
Okay,
I think that was it. Anyway,
I love this stuff too. Talking about Jason Momoa coming in for an audition for Bruce Wayne. This was news to me. I don't know if you've heard that, Matt, before, but I didn't know he actually went in an audition for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, there's an interview where he talks about that. He's like, there's no way they were going to make me Bruce Wayne. He thought it was a joke.
But the fact that Snyder was able to go, oh, you'd be perfect for Aquaman, and here's where I'm going to take this historically kind of shitty character. A lot of people made fun of him. I even rewatched Smallville somewhat recently, and they tried to make it work. They tried to make him like super sexy and maybe sort of kind of it worked that way. But Snyder decided, no, actually, this makes sense. He's a Pacific Islander, and what if he's Aquaman? And now he's made Aquaman a badass, even to the point where some people who just shit all over Snyder for whatever reason have said, oh, Aquaman's not supposed to be badass. How dare you? How dare you make him cool? Like, what? All right.
I was about to ask the same thing, Hardboil. I keep seeing a bunch of egg things, and I'm like,
oh, is it hard-boiled eggs? Ha ha.
I saw a bunch of egg comments. I've just been letting them go because I'll figure it out eventually. And obviously, this is a big thing here where Snyder talks about the casting. Like, as much as some people would want to say that he was hindered by WB on every step of the way, this is something that maybe we even should have highlighted in ours, is that he did get to pick people that you just wouldn't expected, like Jason Momoa, for instance, as Aquaman. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. That's not the people you picture for these roles necessarily. And so he did have a lot of give when it came to that. And now these characters, these actors and actresses are building this universe up. Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, all these characters are building it up more and more. And they're some of your biggest films. So, but the harsh reviews for Batman v Superman demolished Warner Brothers' confidence in Snyder. Even the director's champions, and this is something I've always been curious about, was Greg Silverman, because when Tsujihara came in and Emmerich and everything, that's when you kind of feel like everything fell apart. But then when you realize that, Greg Silverman was there, he was the he was the kind of the champion of this different type of universe. But anyway, he says, like production head Greg Silverman, we're worried when Batman v Superman came out, and we did get the negative reaction from the fans. Somewhat fans, more critics. It was disheartening for all of us, says Silverman. Now the founder and the head of independent content company Stampede. Okay, Zack had made these movies like 300 that were such crowd pleasers, and that was our job, to make crowd pleasers. And here we have made a movie together, and it didn't really please the audience. And there's reasons why, but let's just not put those in there. And of course, yeah, he brings up good old Marvel. Always got to do the comparisons to Marvel. And of course, they must have stuck really close to their comic book roots. Where did I see that one? Yeah, right there. Their comic book roots. Yep.
Yeah, sure they did.
Because when I watched Thor Ragnarok, I think comic book roots.
Yep, exactly. Civil War is like, it was taken right out of the page. Yeah, out of the page.
I was right there. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I was going to ask if you needed to step away to get some water or something. Is that a dick move? I don't know.
Well, you can start reading.
All right, fair enough. I was kind of waiting for it. I was trying. All right. Oh. So Diane Nelson, who was president of DC Entertainment at the time, says she appreciated that Snyder was more into deconstructing the familiar than just recapitulating it. Zack is a masterful visual storyteller who goes deep into individual characters. For some people, that is amazing. For other people, it becomes a problem because they have fixed opinions about who these DC characters are and are not. Couldn't have said it.
These are the quotes I keep seeing.
Now they totally just obviously. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. Basically, we did not watch that episode that they are referencing. Sorry, guys. Of the Real Emotion is where all that egg stuff comes from.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry. They outed us. That's the word I was looking for.
Oh, yeah. In 2016, principal photography got underway on Justice League in the United Kingdom. Rumors precluded that Snyder had been fired from the film. That didn't happen, but Warner Brothers, then chairman and CEO Kevin Sucharod, did assign watchdogs in the form of DC Entertainment creative chief Jeff Johns and Warner Brothers co-production head John Berg. The etiquette was clear. At least one of them had to be on the set every day. Now, this is kind of interesting because I remember, and this is something that we'll touch on, but I do kind of remember the petition of like fire Zack Snyder after Batman versus Superman. I remember that, and I remember some of the things that were going on, and obviously the loss of power, where a lot of people, he was, demoted from his architect look, and, John Berg and Jeff Johns were put ahead of him now. They were his boss now. And he didn't have as much creative freedom anymore. I remember all that, but to say he was fired, I was like, I don't remember quite that. I just remember him getting pushed down the ladder quite a bit after Batman versus Superman.
The interesting part is and maybe it's Snyder being political, but he doesn't really say like that it was uncomfortable or anything like that in this article. He really seems to just say, oh yeah, that they were obviously there. They had to put. I was laughing at that.
I'm gonna screenshot this and send it to
her. Matt's gonna have 2 black guys on the next episode. But Snyder did a great job just of talking about like, no, they were trying to put in some of their opinions and they didn't necessarily overstep in certain areas. And anytime that they did try to interject some comedy, it wasn't necessarily in like the worst place. That's kind of the vibe that I got from this. And again, maybe that's Snyder just being political and saying, oh yeah, it wasn't that bad. Maybe it was bad. Maybe that's where some of the pressure came from. But I don't know. I also like the fact that he says something along the lines. I don't know if it's in this paragraph or a different one where he talks about like, oh, they weren't that intimidating. So it's not like you're like, well, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm still gonna pretty much do what I want to do.
Yeah, he could be downplaying them. Who knows how exactly? But if this doesn't give you Richard Donner flashbacks, I don't know what does. If you know the Richard Donald story at all, but this is very similar. Where Pierre Spangler, like Saul Kynes, had to be on the set. Some of them had to be on the set at all times because you're worried about things going over budget, the story going weird, and stuff like that. So, and then eventually they brought in Richard Lester, and the story will go from here. I'm actually surprised Berg commented here because, out of everybody here, Berg, with all the stuff going on with John Berg, it's kind of interesting that he would comment.
I'll read it.
Go ahead.
He says, it was really tricky and not a position that I love to be honest. Or that I love, to be honest. There we go. All right, take it away. I tried to be forthright about what I thought creatively. My job was to try to mediate between a creator whose vision is instinctually dark and a studio that perceived, rightly or wrong, that the fans wanted something lighter. I was respectful of the director, and I didn't pursue things that were coming at me from the corporate side that I thought weren't in line with what would be the best for the movie or would make the best movie. And this is, I don't know. You hear all these different things about John Berg and Jeff Johns and stuff like that. But this was one of those things where I could kind of understand, you're trying to, you have to please, working in a corporate world. Maybe that's where I kind of relate to this. You have to please the higher ups. But then you're also you have to somewhat be the messenger and then also kind of, roll out the plan or, procedures and things like that. And yeah, and he's kind of stuck, between a rock and a hard place and has to kind of find that balance of, well, this is what they're telling me to do. And I understand you have your vision and your way of doing things, but, we have to try to make the best movie that we can. And
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, and we'll get to them here, I think a lot of people the people that were more vocal, which was Berg and Johns at the time, they were the ones that were out there saying this thing, hope, optimism, things are going to change and all this stuff. But I think really what some people may not understand all the way is that, like, how much pressure that is from, and we'll find out here. And it always goes back, and people just need to pay attention a little bit more. It always goes back to Sujihara. When it talked about all the knee-jerk reactions, Sujihara. This fucking 2-hour mandate, Sujihara. Making things lighter and more like the MCU, Sujihara. It always comes back to this guy. Snyder knew with Johns and Berg, everyone said, you could say babysit. He says many filmmakers would have bristled at the intrusion. But he was gracious. It didn't bother me too much because they weren't that threatening.
Yeah, that was the paragraph. That's what I said.
And Snyder is only like 5'6", guys. So anyway, I just felt the ideas they did have where they were trying to inject humor and stuff like that. It wasn't anything that was outrageous.
By the way, for those of you who are wrestling fans, you'll get this reference. But now I kind of understand how wrestlers feel when their show gets hijacked, because I'm just reading through some of these stupid ass comments. You are not brave. Eggs are brave. So, it's totally detracting.
What?
Distracting. Yeah, exactly. What? CM Punk. Doing the fucking wave and stuff. Matt and I did that. Anyway.
And here we go. Here's one of the most interesting. We had a poll on this on our community page. But Warner Brothers did nix some of the more sweeping notions for Justice League, like adding a romance between Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne and Amy Adams' Lois Lane, who was mourning Superman's death in the previous film. The intention, Snyder says, was that Bruce fell in love with Lois and then realized the only way to save the world was to bring Superman back to life. Says Snyder. So he had an insane conflict. So he had this insane conflict because Lois, of course, was still in love with Superman. We had this beautiful speech where Bruce said to Alfred, "I never had a life outside the cave. I've never imagined a world for me beyond this. But this woman makes me think that if I can get this group of gods together, then my job is done. I can quit. I can stop." And of course, that doesn't work out for him. This is an interesting concept. So I think Shane and I were talking about this before, and we were toiling away on this. Like, my first reaction was like, good. I don't really care too much for that concept, to be honest. because it starts to sound more like a love. When you first read it, it kind of sounds more like a love triangle. And that sounds stupid. That honestly sounds stupid to me. But then when you start actually kind of thinking about it, maybe it was more one-sided. Maybe he was just realizing that, being around her and, she is the key and so forth. Maybe it was something. Yeah, see, people are saying it's a callback to the animated series, but that was kind of like Superman's alive in the animated series. This is what's kind of fucked up. It's like, at the end of BVS, I failed him when he was alive, but I'm not going to fail him when he's wrong. And then, so
yeah, exactly.
I get that people are saying it's a callback to the animated thing, but it's not really, because Superman is dead. So this is more of that's where I kind of like, well, this, he was trying to change his ways, and because of Superman sacrifice, but he definitely wants to fucking nail Lois Lane from behind. So that's kind of where I was like, I don't know about that. But I could see this as if I can get this group of people together, if I could just finish this one last thing, it'd be good. And it kind of reminds you, I know they're making all these Marvel comparisons, but in this one, it actually kind of reminds me slightly of Logan, where if he could just get, weapon, what is it, X-23, what I can't remember the character's actual name, but if you could just get her across the border or just get her, somewhere, boom, like, if I just finish this one last thing, I can rest, I can do my thing, and we know what Bruce's ultimate fate was, so that's where I kind of started doing the Logan comparisons.
DJN, you're the man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bean counters will make it driven. Oh yeah, and that's one of his most famous quotes, man. Is Snyder's one, by committee. A movie by committee sucks. So
yeah, I'll kind of echo some of the same stuff that Matt and he and I had discussed this over text, and we have the same reaction of initially. I'm thinking, I get it. This is somewhat similar to the animated series, and we have seen Bruce Wayne and Lois Lane have a relationship in a couple of different forms and stuff. But it just initially, I'm like, no, I don't really want this. It doesn't make any sense. Batman, Bruce Wayne can have Wonder Woman, can have Diana. Maybe that can work out something along those lines. But Laura, yep, from Logan,
yeah.
But then the more I started thinking about it, and Hardboiled touched on it, that maybe it's completely one-sided, and maybe if I can appreciate Snyder's storytelling, and I love his storytelling, so I could actually see him pulling this off in a way to where it doesn't seem super forced, but you can tell that maybe it's not even like a crazy like. I want to marry her or something like that. But maybe it's that Lois kind of brings him the same type of hope and understanding of the world, and that there's something beyond being Batman, and maybe it's just a one-sided type infatuation. Instead of, like this love of, now, we're going to have a relationship type thing, but maybe it's just, she's inspiring, and, she's this wonderful woman, and, maybe they have that type of connection, and I could see maybe that working.
So, yeah, I'm not completely sold on this idea.
And thank you.
And then right here, so this is reason where I wore the shirt.
Yeah.
And, well, whatever, you can't really see the shirt, but yeah, it makes you wonder if Baby Bruce is from Baby Bruce. Fucking the little bat, the little.
Now I hope it's still just a reference. That I like the idea of Lois, having Kal-El's kid and them naming it Bruce. I like that idea. But when you start to incorporate Bruce Wayne into it, it just gets a little sticky. No pun intended.
Just like the pages of a Playboy. But that didn't work out. For Snyder either. The studio said negative. No. So my thing accidentally highlighted this whole article.
So we're reading the highlighted.
Okay, yeah. So the downside of making epics for the studio financial expectations for Justice League, Warner Brothers wanted a big round $1 billion in global box office, which Snyder movies had never reached. In January 2017, the director showed his first cut to Sujihara. It didn't go well. According to Snyder and others, Tsuchihara, who resigned from Warner Bros. In 2019 over sexual misconduct a scandal involving aspiring actress Charlotte Kirk, declined an interview for request. No shit. Why would you want to talk
Glad
about
you
that?
threw that in there. You know what is so frustrating about this part of the article, and just this part in history, to be honest, we've said this ad nauseum, but it's Warner Brothers' fucking fault that they didn't get their $1 billion. Had they had patience, I think Snyder would have just blown the doors off of the box office, and you know, they just had to have patience and see the build from there. And you know, we've talked about what we're about to get in T-minus less than a month. I don't know what the countdown's exactly at, but we're about to get something insane that's going to blow everyone's minds. I'm confident of that, and I think we would have gotten Justice League 2. We would have gotten something so insane that it would have cracked $1 billion and then some. And I will go as far as to say it would have been probably just as successful as Endgame. You know, at least up there, had they had the patience, not done the stupid decisions from starting back in BVS, and Matt and I working on episode 3 has reminded me of all of this nonsense. But BVS, and then even the bull crap with Suicide Squad and all this stuff, they would have had a universe that Snyder was building his 5-story arc. You can have all these movies spun off of that 5-story arc, and you would have had it, and I believe you would have crossed $1 billion easily.
Among the issues of length, I mean, really, who complains about length? Anyway, of the film, there was a mandate from Tsuchihara that the movie be 2 hours long, which Snyder, on the Real Emotion podcast, mentioned that first with us, that he was actually given the 2-hour mandate as well. That wasn't something that came later on after the reshoots. This was forced upon Snyder as well. That order had a paradoxical impact because it meant eliminating much of the heart and humor the studio also wanted. I just love that idea. I just love that he says that. Yeah. Like the comical romantic subplot between Ezra Miller's Flash and Kiersey Clemens' Iris, the latter of whom was absent entirely from the Whedon film.
Snyder also saw a bigger structural problem with the make it shorter order. How am I supposed to introduce 6 characters, an alien with potential for world domination, in 2 hours? It can be done. It clearly was done, referring to Whedon's version, but I didn't see it. It wasn't done well.
Yeah.
We'll just say that.
Snyder himself asked, the reports of Snyder asked Whedon for help were false. Johns, one of the studio appointed babysitters, had been planning a Batgirl movie with Whedon, and Snyder and others say Johns recruited him to do rewrites for Justice League. John's representatives didn't respond to the request for comment. Once again, Snyder was gracious and even hopeful. I thought maybe he could write some cool scenes. I thought that would be fun. I mean, dude, you can't. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how many things are political answers or not.
Yeah, very true. That thought had crossed my mind when I initially read this, but again, it kind of goes back to Snyder was trying, and I think maybe, you know, in hindsight too, you're talking about what we're about to get, and what maybe we would have gotten. It probably would have been compromised. Let's say that they didn't have the 2-hour mandate, but they still kind of stuck with Whedon throwing in some jokes, and Snyder obviously maybe interested in working with him a little bit. Sure, yeah, if you want to rewrite some cool scenes, that sounds fun. And then, you know, and even some of the stuff that he was saying earlier about, yeah, they're just making sure this is lighthearted, and you know, with Johns and whoever the fuck, now I can't even remember, but Berg. Berg. But you know, I think we would have gotten a very interesting movie, but you know, everything happens for a reason, apparently.
Soon it became clear that Warner Bros. Was giving Whedon more and more power. This is where he gets Donnered by the Lester. Whedon is Lester and Snyder is Donner. I mean, it's amazing that it just kind of rewrites itself into almost the same goddamn thing. He would not just advise during reshoots, but he also did some directing himself. Snyder says he only had a one conversation with Whedon about the studio's notes. Reeling from, I wish he would have elaborated on that too. Like I was like when I read that, I'm like, well, what's the conversation about? I wanted to know what the conversation was. Anyway, reeling from Autumn's death and finding anguish in their work rather than relief, Zack and Deborah quit. We just lost the will to fight that fight in a lot of ways, says Zack. All of us, the whole family, were just so broken by losing Autumn, and that having those conversations in the middle of it really became, I was like, really, frankly, I think we did the right thing, because I think it would have been either incredibly belligerent or we just rolled over.
This is bam. Yeah, history does repeat itself. I'll have to take a look at this article. I haven't read that, but that's interesting, and yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. Talk about Man of Steel, the product placement, and the money that they earned from that. And then he talks about, I remember I was in a movie theater, coincidentally enough, Ray Fisher said on the set of Snyder's reshoots last fall, I was walking into the AMC right in Times Square, and I got the call from Zack, and he was saying that he had to deal with the stuff with the fam, and he was having to step away. I had a trillion questions. My heart sank.
Who's this guy? Anyway.
Hold on. It looked like you had subtitles on there. We can figure this out.
Reed rewrote and reshot about 3/4 of Justice League from what Snyder can gather. I would almost say it's more sometimes. Yeah. I really do. When fans ask him about details of the movie that bears his name, he usually has no idea what they're talking about, and that's why we got Russian Family Matt. Worst of all, for Warner Brothers, Whedon didn't exactly save the movie. This is my favorite quote from the whole article. I love this quote, and it's sad the person renamed anonymous.
I know. I love the articles that spun from this too. It cracked me up the amount that I was like, oh, did we actually get a name or anything like that? No, people wrote articles just referencing this article in this specific quote.
Yeah, it was like executives say Whedon's version's a piece of shit. Anyway, when we got to see what Josh actually did, it was stupefying.
That's a great word.
The robber on the I should have been stupefied, Matt. Shit.
Oh, dang.
The robber on the rooftop, so goofy and awful. The Russian family, so useless and pointless. Everyone knew it. It was so awkward because nobody wanted to admit what a piece of shit it was. Oh, man.
So fantastic. A lot of these work, by the way. 300 eggs, watch eggs, Dawn of the Eggs, Sucker Eggs, Legend of the Eggs, Eggs of Steel, ouch, Batman Eggs, Superman, then Eggs, Snyder's Justice Young. Terrible. Anyways. And back to this lovely article.
This makes sense too, because somebody was trying to say they're trying to save face here. But if I remember distinctly after Justice League, there was an article written where WB did realize that it was just shitty. And this came out immediately afterwards. So it wasn't like they knew it was bad. And that was also kind of a reason why some people were saying the Snyder Cut wasn't going to come out, because they just wanted to distance themselves so far away from Justice League after the shit show that this was, that it didn't seem like they wanted to revisit it in any way, even with Snyder. Like, I remember that article distinctly. It was just, so it was definitely a thought process back then, at least.
It goes into some of the details about the reshoots
gate.
And exactly. And then Fisher's Whedon, whole controversy, all that.
Yep.
Lovely
the cast
stuff.
were very loyal to Zack. Again, a very Donner thing. The cast was very loyal to Donner over Lester. They didn't like Lester. They were Donner people. And just the same thing here. The cast was very loyal to Zack, and they were hurting for him, says Nelson, the former DC president. It would have been very difficult environment for any new director to walk into. I have no doubt about that. But that is how Joss chose to handle that, is whatever Joss lived with. Anyway, it's exactly like Lester. They're just like, I remember Terrence Stamp, I believe it is. He made the same exact comment about Lester. that it would have been impossible for any director to come in after Donner.
Yeah.
He made almost the same exact quote. And it's just, I was like, when I was reading this, I'm like, my God, if we were just better at editing and everything, that Donner video would be great right now. It just, I mean, it still works in some sense, but I always kind of cringe at some of the editing and how things are put together.
It was okay for its time. What's crazy
Windows
is
Movie Maker special right there.
I was recently listening to a podcast that was talking about Superman 4, and Superman 4 had poor test screenings, and so they decided we're gonna cut it down, and it ended up being like an hour and a half. And so there was a mandate in terms of, no, it has to reach this point. So again, it's incohesive. And there's more story out there, even from now my understanding, even more so than what I've seen online. There's a substantial amount more. I want to say it's like 34 minutes or something like that additional that are floating out around there. So it happened with 2. And, you brought someone else in, and then with I don't 3 was a cluster. Then it happened again with 4. Nope, test screenings. It was eerily so similar to what we've gotten about the talk about test screenings and a mandate if it has to be a shorter movie and all this stuff. And you're like, what the hell? It's insane.
Basically, this talks about after Whedon's version, and Snyder gradually began to encourage the movement, but it was hardly the first thing on his mind. From the time he left, says Snyder, it was not a great year, but we did a lot of stuff with family, and it was really important, an important year. Basically talking about going on to Army of the Dead. Scott Stuber, the head of the original films at Netflix, says Zack went through something very difficult, and I think he probably realized, like we all do, it's okay to be vulnerable. For those of us lucky enough to know him and Deborah, he's a very soulful, kind, thoughtful human being. He's got this facet he's got this facade. He's got this facade of big action. Wait, what is that word?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, big action movies.
Yeah. There you go.
And all these bravado things, but there's a sweet kindness to him. And this is, I think,
I love that. I love that description of, again, going back to what I was talking about earlier, that this article in a lot of instances does kind of help, make Snyder a lot more relatable, and this understanding of, he's this person out here. I remember, and I feel like I said this a lot, but not to get too political, but I remember when all this stuff was, obviously Snyder's clearly this, white bread Republican, and look at him, he's the sexist man, like all this stuff, and then he ends up posting a video supporting Biden. So it's like you think who the man is, and you really don't. You have no idea. And that to me was the epitome of that. Of he has this bravado of, he has these deep type movies that are dark, and people have this perception of him, and for a lot of instances the wrong reasons. But he's kind. Everyone who's worked with him has said amazing things, and how an amazing person he is. And obviously Stuber talks about it as well.
This paragraph here is probably like my second favorite, actually, because at the time of the stories of abusive creators, Snyder is an anomaly. Even executives who were sometimes at odds with him agree that he is genuinely nice. I'd be stronger for that, says Silverman. He's a wonderful guy and fostered a wonderful working environment on his sets. He really valued the crew. He really valued his cast. Everybody that works in a Snyder movie talks about how great this is, from Gerard Butler, Ray Fisher. I mean, it just goes, the whole cast of Sucker Punch. They all talk about how great it is to work with him. And I mean, the Gerard Butler stories, the one where he talks about some guy on the set dropped something, broke it, and a lot of people would have been chewed out for that. And Snyder just went over there and started helping him clean it up. I mean, you hear stories like that, and that he made the guy feel more comfortable after the incident. And you just hear stories like that, and you're like, God damn, he is an anomaly when you hear about Hollywood stuff. And I sometimes, when people just rail on the dude, this is the stuff right here where it just blows me away, when people just rail on him for no reason. They just hate his guts, and they say some of the worst possible things you can say about people. Yes, on Twitter, so it's faceless jackasses behind a keyboard. But it's just crazy when you see that this guy is genuinely, out of all the crap that we have in Hollywood, all the bullshit, there's actually some people,
all the controversy,
there actually is there is some out there that are good people, and the fact that that this person even has to admit that he's an anomaly is just sad. Like, this people treats people decently. That's an anomaly in Hollywood. Like, it just sucks. And you could see why that created so much controversy afterwards, because he's an anomaly. He treated people well, and then what do you get afterwards? Whedon and all the other crap and the push to get this stuff done. Yeah, the people were probably not even close to being ready for that.
And I know we're getting to the point in the article here shortly, but where he talks about he obviously doesn't condone a lot of the stuff with toxic fandom and attacking people, but it reminds me of a lot of the crap you still see from a lot of idiots on Twitter and on YouTube and what have you, of just saying stupid, unintelligent things, thinking that they know really what's going on, saying crap about Zack Snyder, and then people come out to defend him. And yeah, some people take it too far, but people will come to defend Snyder because they know the type of person that he is. And I don't condone everything that I've seen out there either, but some of it is, it's kind of like, it's that clip that I've seen over and over again with of the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. You get what you fucking deserve. It's like you said all of this crap for years over a movie, over a couple movies, and it's not even accurate. You say all this crap for years, and then you're shocked, and you're like all defensive about, oh no, now I'm being attacked, and the Snyder cult and all this bull crap. It's like, well, yeah, if you say stupid crap half the time, then that's what you're gonna get.
And of course, in this era, talking about the negative fan stuff, the
I jumped ahead a little bit. My apologies.
No, it's fine. But then they actually bring in a writer trying to psychologically break down why people are the way they are when it comes to Snyder and stuff. And I'm just like, you just haven't been following. And man, when we get to part 3, there was articles that were written of why was there a bathtub scene in Batman versus Superman, or that Robin was a psychopath because the suit that we briefly see in Batman versus Superman had a spear. There's articles written like that, and they just destroy Snyder as a character in the process, as a person. And then they wonder why there's a bunch of people that are like, okay, you're not even talking about the movie at this point. You're not even being an actual critic. You're not breaking anything down. You're just being a dickhead to be a dickhead. Yeah. And then you wonder why this,
with no legitimacy.
There's like kind of that saying that, you kind of create your own enemies and you create your own villains and stuff like that. And that's what they've done, and not condoning anybody what they've done if they've done anything, terrible. But it's like, I can't imagine why some of these people have been sitting on the sidelines watching their favorite director, who apparently is an anomaly in Hollywood, that's a good person, just get ripped to shreds as a person. Yeah. I can't imagine why people would be frustrated with that.
But then you have these other directors and stuff that have controversial tweets or whatever the case may be, and people will come and go to bat for them up and down. But then when people go to bat for Zack Snyder, who obviously has examples, real examples of that he's an amazing person, and everyone talks about how great he is, and then we defend him, and we're the a-holes apparently.
Oh, so some people are pointing to this real quick, that Jay Lee just roasted someone. Hold on, guys. Let me. I'll switch screens. See if I can share that. Oh man, that's gonna take that away. Oh well. I just want to check this out real quick.
Nathan, I think he's running a dual monitor. If that's what you're referencing.
So Snyder can ask. Snyder, can I ask you something? Yesterday,
I saw this earlier. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see this. Superman. Oh, you already liked it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so Snyder, can I ask you something? Yesterday, he debuted a new series of Superman in there, and there like in one episode, he managed to have more expression than the Superman in 2 movies. Could you be inspired by that Superman for your Justice League? This had to be, and then this had to be the dumbest tweet I've read in 2021.
Congrats! I love that part. Congrats! Yeah. Cheers, friend. Oh my gosh, I didn't see that. Scroll down. Someone's rude. Oh, save that. I love it. I fucking love it. Oh, credit to that person. I don't know who drew that, but that is freaking fantastic. I love it. That's Jay Leva all over the internet,
dude.
Oh my gosh, that's so fantastic.
All right, so let's go back to the article that we're slowly falling behind on.
Yeah, what else are we supposed to talk about? We should just axe that at this point.
Oh man, where the hell am I? Hey, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're so good.
Where the hell?
Did you lose stuff?
Oh, there we go.
All right.
I couldn't find the video. It was in a tab behind the fucking thing. I got confused. I thought
Oh shit.
Subscribe. Anyway, okay. So then they bring in a psychologist to try to break down all this shit. We already talked about how stupid that is. The trolls may have held back the movement, which I don't. Maybe it is, but I think really
slightly, but
I think a lot of things held back certain things. But I think to say that it got held back, I think is just a complete understatement, because the fact it took 20 years for the Donner cut, 25 years for the Donner cut, and the fact that we're getting it this in 4 years is, I think, a testament to, and honestly, the stubbornness of Hollywood, I think, is actually a great accomplishment. So whatever.
Not even a full 4 years. That's insane. It's so crazy.
But yeah, obviously, and then an awesome final shot there. Yeah. Initially, Snyder's and Warner Brothers wanted to release. This is kind of interesting. The laptop, he was like, the raw footage that was on his laptop, and he's like, no, that's a hard no, he says. And they were like, but why? You can just put that up on the rough cut, which is interesting, because this is something we were talking about from day one.
Yeah, and actually, initially, I was okay, back on, day one, the next day after Justice League, when we start pushing the Snyder cut. I was like, yeah, sure, just release whatever he has. And then he brings up a great point here, talking about like, yeah, this is one, you get the internet off your back. He says 3 reasons. 1, you get the internet off your back, which is probably your main reason for wanting to do this anyways. Yeah, nice little dig there, which was hilarious. 2, you get to feel vindicated for making things right, I guess, on some level. And then 3, you get a shitty version of the movie that you can point at and go, see, it's not that good anyways. So maybe I was right. I was like, no chance. I would rather just have the Snyder cut be a mythical unicorn for all time. And yeah, great points, and I absolutely agree with him.
Oh, shit.
Now that we're getting it, dude, man, this has been a good stream.
It's interesting when they talk about toxic fans. Somehow the MCU fans, which are the most toxic fan base, the whole of BS, never gets mentioned. I know it's we're working on part 3 right now, and it's just mind blowing when you look at like just the double standard. And like and you try not to be biased, because obviously we prefer DC, we prefer Snyder over a lot of that stuff. But it's like, man, it's just like, how can you not look at this as there's a clear vendetta against certain groups of people here? Like it's just a clear vendetta sometimes, and it just blows you away. Snyder estimates that the cost around $70 million to undo Whedon's redo. I like how this pointed, like it would to undo what Whedon did. So, and I like how it says he estimated 70 million. Initially in that Hollywood Reporter article, it said 20 to 30. But apparently it was always 70 million from his point of view, which is what we were hearing anyway. So that makes perfect sense. HBO Max gets 4 hours of a hotly anticipated programming and the Hollywood comeback story of a lifetime. Snyder himself gets nothing. I'm not getting paid, he says. Which, again, another Donner thing. Donner did not get paid to do the Donner cut. So when he came back, he was doing it for free, just like Snyder. I mean, god damn. I get these. Anyway, it just parallels so well. Anyway, he says, go ahead.
You would think at this point that part 3 would be 4 hours long, but it's not. We're just trying to compile a lot of bullshit, basically.
It's so hard to make something a reasonable time limit. Like the goal of that series was to make 30-minute to 40-minute episodes. And the last one at 47. And so now it's trying to condense things into a reasonable time frame. And this one is even harder to condense than before. Like it's just really hard to condense all those thoughts into one thing.
This has been a great fucking stream.
Dude, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Marcelo.
Really appreciate it.
And so he also did the reason, one of the first reasons he did this was he wanted creative control. And for getting the fee helped, I didn't want to be beholden to anyone, and it allowed me to keep my negotiating powers with the people pretty strong. So that's amazing. That's fucking awesome. Fisher, he talks about Fisher. Fisher talked about it. It was basically saying that he's been thinking about it for the last 3 years every day. Okay, here we go. Here's the one positive thing he does right. As for the fan base, the Snyder movement has contributed $500,000 to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention through donation sales and merchandise and auctions of props. People have been saying, "Oh, they attack people," says Deborah Snyder. Here, her eyes tearing. But this fan base has saved lives. As much as they wanted something for themselves, they came together for this amazing cause. You feel so helpless trying to help someone, and you don't know what to do. It's literally life or death. And I felt like we didn't really know where to turn.
Mr. Colbert, thank you, sir. You are too kind. You are too kind.
God damn. You guys are making this almost like a legitimate YouTube channel. This is getting scary.
Now you're going to have expectations and...
Yeah, boo. Of course, he talks about some of the cool things he's doing, adding Jared Leto, black suit, and then the 4x3 format that everybody's freaking out about. But all right, whatever.
I was really hoping, I don't know if anyone else looked or had any luck, but I was really hoping I can find this version of Hallelujah by Alison Crow. I followed her on social media. I'm like, where can I listen to this beforehand? But it sounds like it's just going to be something ahead of time. Or excuse me, not ahead of time. Sorry, I got distracted. Jose, a new member. You're dang. Right in the fields, man. Right in the fields. Thank you. Thank you. Anyways, but I was looking for this Hallelujah version and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I'm assuming maybe when the album, when the, what do they call it? Not an album, a soundtrack. Thank you. When the soundtrack drops, then maybe it'll be on there. But exactly, hard boiled. I
still see a lot of people not joining yet. So I mean, I still see this. This guy right here,
weird lad.
Yeah. Yep. You're not.
Yeah. What the fuck? That's what I was saying.
Yeah. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding.
No, I mean, this is insane. We greatly appreciate all of you for joining, for becoming members, for donating. It's insane.
It's all good, man. It's all good. So this is actually a cool thing because this is something that was briefly brought up on that Real Emotion podcast that we were with Snyder when he was talking about this song meant something more to him. It was a family song, and then this gets elaborated on more. Obviously, this was the song Hallelujah was played at Autumn's funeral. I'm surprised that he's kind of being so open about it, but I guess he's finally finding it time. And again, this changed a lot of opinions. Not a lot. This changed opinions in general when it came to, again, this is humanizing him. That's the word I'm looking for. This is kind of what we were talking about, the humanization of Snyder in this, and talking about how this was the moment for him anyway, and he's got this rendition of this song for Autumn, and that's one of the main reasons why he had it, in the first song. There's some people that changed perspectives, and they're like, oh, well, I didn't realize, I was talking shit about Hallelujah, and now, oh shit, okay, that's why he did it.
And do you have those tweets?
I was trying to delay myself.
Yeah, I probably should have read this. See if we planned and you see your guys' expectations are probably just going through the tank right now. But yeah, I should have read this part. But yeah, it reminded me a lot of the the mandate in terms of trimming BVS down. And then once the Ultimate Edition came out, and then people were like, "Oh, damn, this movie is actually good. I like it." People are still turning around on it, like, "Oh man, this movie's fantastic." Talking about BVS, it was very, very similar. Yet again, if you actually understand the reasoning behind certain things, and do just a tad bit of research, and maybe you won't jump to conclusions.
Well,
I love you, man. I love you.
Well, I can't find them now, so fuck me. I don't know if they've been deleted or what. So anyway,
Well, we'll
trust
just
me.
go back to this. Yeah, slightly whoring it out.
Oh, dude, we are whores. Jesus, man, look at that little top ticker up there. It's like it's got all these little new things on here. That's pretty fucking sweet.
I know, it's insane.
So that's
okay. Recorded a new version of Hallelujah. Someone earlier said, I apologize, I was just kind of like skimming through it, but someone said that there's 2 videos. Oh, Nathan, 2 videos of her performing it live. I'll have to check that out. I'm looking forward to that.
So that's kind of the breakdown of this article. It changed things up for people.
We take whatever. That's
I want to be a member.
That is a sweet.
Oh, dude, I will take whatever. You
must be the Monopoly guy.
Do not pass go. $200.
Oh man.
So okay. Boom. There we go.
Oh my gosh. Life with Joshua Smith. Thank you. Man,
I'm gonna have to do it. So all the new members, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead while I look for the beginning of Marcelo's. Oh. Matt, you're the best.
Yeah.
What? Just Matt? All right. I'll go fuck myself.
Shane, when your laugh makes my day. I know I'm the best. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
the best in the world.
So all of those new members, make sure you guys check out the community members page because it has our bloopers, has a bunch of early access stuff, and all that crap. So members get some pretty good perks there. Make sure you check out those things. So anyway, so that's that article. Again, I come to the conclusion that's probably going to be the closest thing that we're going to get to the truth for a while when it comes to the debacle that is the Justice League production. It's man, yeah, it's insane to read that, and it's kind of what we knew a little bit, but it's like Shane was talking about with the Ultimate Cut. It's like it went 3 hours. It got received better. It was looked at as a superior movie to the theatrical cut, which they wanted Snyder to butcher down. But then they come back with, okay, no, it needs to be 2 hours.
Thank you, Steven. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And so it's just fascinating that the mindset, that just the feet in the mud mindset, that somehow that is a superior concept of a shorter movie. That still just blows me away that they thought that was a better idea at the end of the day. So I know that's a lot, but we'll just finish this up real quick. We have.
That's what I say all the time. Just gonna finish this up real quick. Anywho.
Oh man.
So many kids. I got kids.
I got kids. So exactly. We have for Army of the Dead, we finally have a release date. Hold on. Share screen. Chrome tab. I think it's this one. Yes. Okay. We finally have a release date of May 21st. Survivors Take All. And yes, do they take it all, baby?
You know why, Garza? Because it's apparently your fault that our whole audience decided to just take over the comment section with these eggs and crap.
I'm going to be honest.
So there.
I have a really bad setup right now because I had an article over here. So my stand for my mic was completely blocking the comments. So I rarely was able to see the comments. I was trying to glance over every once in a while, but if people saw me doing this, it's because I was trying to look around.
Oh, so it's all on me then, huh? It's all on me. All right.
So blame Shane. If he wasn't reading comments, it's his fault.
I can't read. All right.
Yes, Bruce did put a little Bruce in there. Surprised he didn't name it Dick. Anyway.
Nice. That's
good. So we have an official May 21st Army of the Dead, and we got a trailer right there.
There it is. Can you feel that, buddy?
Oh man, this was just epic. I
really don't want much more than this, to be quite honest. There are not a whole lot of dialogue. You get an idea of what you already know what the movie's going to be. I love the concept. Grace Randolph's interview with him talking about, it's a heist movie mixed with a zombie movie. That apparently I did not know that the Atlantic City was a shithole apparently now. So I apologize for that. I was exactly.
So I don't know if anybody. So for those that haven't seen it, This is what we're looking at
What
right
the
here. What happened?
Holy shit. Thank you, Shawnee Beans. Wow.
Shane's forehead.
I need it. My wallet hurts.
Dude, Shawnee, man, what the fuck, dude? Holy shit,
that is
man.
insane. Wow. Thank you. Thank
Well,
you. That's I don't even know what to say aside from I'm overwhelmed here, guys. I'm overwhelmed.
You guys are gonna make us cry.
But we can eat. What do you mean gonna?
I can finally eat now. I've been so appreciate. Why are you laughing so hard at that?
Sorry, it just reminded me of that stupid hot dog comment that we got in our last video. That's all.
Who's gonna one up? I don't know.
Go see $51, 51, 51, 51, 52, 52, 52.
We're never gonna end this stream.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I'm sure everybody's seen the trailer here, but I'm gonna keep it a little bit low so we can kind of talk through it. I want to do a breakdown of it. I know we're running long already for us. Trust me, this is. I do love that everybody, no matter what, seems to always snap back to what they're familiar with. Like I remember with like the Wonder Woman stuff, like the original posters are like, oh, they're Thor Ragnaroking the posters because they're color and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I saw this, I was like, huh, it kind of reminds me of that one trailer from Suicide Squad.
Yep,
and then everybody, all the comments I kept seeing is like, why is he still the Suicide Squad font? I was like, really? The Suicide Squad owns the font now? I mean, it reminded me of that.
Yeah,
it really did.
It is the font, the coloration. It's it definitely has Suicide Squad vibes. I love the fact, and this isn't anything new from Zack Snyder. We got that with Man of Steel, the guy who brought you 300 and Dawn of the Dead, and now in this case it's Man of Steel and Dawn of the Dead, which is it's beautiful. I love it. I love that he's a marketing name now.
As a fellow Nevadans, this is an accurate look of a casino.
Yep.
If anybody was
shit. Well, it was funny because I said, I wish they would have come to Reno. If they filmed this in Atlantic City instead of Vegas, they should have just come to Reno because we got some shitty rundown casinos they could have filmed in. But apparently the Atlantic City is really run down. It's from what I'm gathering. I don't know if that's fully accurate or not, but not to offend anyone.
The Flamingo was turned into condos, right?
Yes.
Do you even know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no. And I think a lot of it was there was one that was turned into like didn't the Harris rock wall on the outside? Harrah's just closed down. Yep. Yeah. We had the Harrah's just closed down. We had the Little Nugget. They could have filmed in the Little Nugget. I mean, come on.
We used to call a guy at work the Little Nugget because he smelled like alcohol and cigarettes.
And I wasn't sure if that was like a Shawn Michaels Nugget Owen Hart joke or
he smelled like shit, cigarette.
Can't get rid of him.
He just smelled like the inside of a casino. So we used to call him Little Nugget.
Oh man. Rest in peace, Awful. It's a fantastic burger.
It was. It lost its glory though.
It did, but I was hanging on to it. Anyways, the trailer. Obviously.
Some fucking beautiful shit right there from the director of Man of Steel.
Play the F trailer. Sorry.
Okay, there we go. I'll just let it play. And Dawn of the Dead. I guess I could turn it up a little.
Just like Dawn of the Dead, though, you know these zombies are going to be badass. If you've never been to Vegas. But I dig it. And Vegas kind of looks like that anyways. It's not all that great.
Yeah, the people piled up on top of each other. That's exactly how it looks.
Kind of a shithole, but you know.
This is interesting right here. Wonder what that is.
Daredevil.
So, I don't know. So I mean, I'm curious on this. I think someone brought this up somewhat recently. Like, why does why does money matter anymore? I did think this was kind of weird, but I'm sure there's going to be an explanation. Maybe
I almost feel like maybe they're not even looking for money. Maybe it's something else. Maybe they're looking for the Snyder cut. Well, you found it, baby. You found it.
Well, we got the Snyder cut right there. Those tins right there.
Yep.
And then the money. Yep. It's
Spoilers.
all Easter eggs right there. Oh.
Thank you, Weird Lad. Appreciate it.
That's heavy, brother. But I dig it.
See, this is a real teaser.
That's it. That's the dialogue. Yes, this is a real teaser. This is all I want. I really don't want much else. I'm
good now.
I can't wait for the, action scenes, everything. I really just want to watch it one shot live and
one opportunity.
Color. Exactly. See everything you ever wanted. Those zombies.
Mom spaghetti. All right, guys. That's the trailer. That's not really much of a breakdown. I'm sorry, but we are right. I guess so yeah, that's some shitty Vegas. I mean, this doesn't even look like a Netflix movie. I'll definitely say that. Like, if you guys fucking look at this thing, it's just this is top notch. They got their $90 million worth out of Zack Snyder on this one for sure. And I mean, they're still working on it too. I had a little bit of a joke because if let's go to the end here. No, oh, there it is. So, story by Zack Snyder, screenplay by Zack Snyder, directed by Zack Snyder. I had a little joke. It was like producer by Zack Snyder, or like in Zombie 3 through 52, Zack Snyder, catering, Zack Snyder. Jesus Christ, I think the dude. Director of photography, Zack Snyder.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I just thought that was
lovely.
Whose name is just all over this freaking thing. So, oh man, Batista looks good. Everybody looks this looks amazing, and I'm excited for Justice League. Don't get me wrong, but it's just nice to see him doing something else.
It's nice to see him having a fantastic fucking year. That already
2021 is the year.
Yeah, I love it.
Of the Zack attack.
I love it.
Okay. So I can't wait. May 21st, guys. On Netflix.
Good shit. I might actually upgrade my Netflix membership for this movie. I'm assuming it's in 4K. He said he filmed in digital, so I'm still being a cheap ass with Netflix, but I might actually upgrade it at least temporarily.
Yeah, it's all fucking green names in the comments, man. Look at all these members. You guys are crazy.
Dang. You guys are awesome. Please teach David. I'm sure, Nathan, that's out of pure luck. I don't know if Matt knows what he's doing fully. Nor do I, Matt. It's fine.
Wait, what am I doing right?
Apparently, you're using the sound source feature on StreamYard accurately, so that we can hear really well. I say we, because member of this audience and this crew, fellow movie Mark.
Oh man! All right, guys, that will end it for sure. Now, this is I just again the year of Snyder, the true story of the Snyder Cut. Part 3 is coming your way and sometime this year, and we're hoping to fucking get that going a little bit better now. A lot of cool things coming down the pike. 22 days, I think it is now. 22 days away from the release of the Snyder Cut. It's going to be epic, guys. It's going to be great.
Can't wait. Great start to the year. 2021 is looking good.
In case I don't see you.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.